Have you ever really looked at your own handwriting? I mean, that grocery list you scribbled down this morning, or the way you sign your name? What if I told you that those little loops and lines are way more than just words? What if they're a direct peek into your personality? Okay, take a look at these. On the left, we've got the genius himself, Leonardo da Vinci, and on the right, a modern icon, Taylor Swift. I mean, these are worlds apart, right? Da Vinci's script is so complex, almost like a secret code. And then you have Swift's, which is just big, bold, and out there. The stories their signatures tell are completely different.
So that gets you thinking, doesn't it? If their handwriting is so revealing, what secrets are hiding in yours? What is that simple, everyday act of writing actually saying about who you are deep down?
To get to the bottom of this, we need to dive into the field that's all about decoding our writing. It's called graphology. Now, people who study this will tell you it's not some kind of fortune telling. They see it as neuroscience. The idea is that when you write, you're not just writing, you're brain writing. Basically, your brain is sending all these little signals down to your hand, and in the process, it's creating a kind of printout of your personality right there on the page. And this is not some new thing, not at all. This idea has been around since 1622. Can you believe it? It started with a professor named Camilo Baldo, and over hundreds of years, it's grown from just a theory into a whole system of analysis. Today, it's even used in things like psychotherapy and for verifying documents in legal cases. So let's be super clear here. The way it's presented in the sources, graphology is a neurophysiological discipline. It's all about that physical connection between your brain and your hand, not about trying to predict your future.
Okay, now for the fun part. Let's get into how this all works. In fact, if you want, grab a pen and paper right now. Just write a quick sentence, and let's see what we can find out together as we go through this.
All right, first up, the size of your letters. Is your writing big and bold, taking up a lot of space? That often points to someone who's outgoing, loves to be around people, maybe even enjoys being the center of attention. But if your writing is small and neat, it suggests you're more of an observer, you're good at analysis, and you probably really value your personal space. Okay, next, what's the angle? Do your letters lean forward, to the right? That's seen as leaning into the future. You're a planner, a visionary, you're ready for what's next. If your letters lean back to the left, though, it's like you're leaning into the past. It could mean you hold on to memories and might find big changes a little tough. Now let's talk shape. Are your letters all soft and loopy? Rounded writing is often linked to people who are kind, affectionate, and really passionate. On the flip side, if your writing is sharp, with lots of angles and points, it might mean you're more direct, to the point, maybe even a little aggressive at times. And finally, let's look at your signature. Think of it as your public face. Does it climb up the page? That's the mark of an optimist, someone who sees a challenge and gets excited. But if your signature slopes downwards, well, that might hint at a more pessimistic view of things, a feeling of being weighed down. Okay, so we've got the building blocks, but how does this play out in the real world? Can you actually use this stuff for big things like love in your career? Well, according to graphologists, yes, absolutely. When it comes to relationships, it's not about being the same. It's about how you fit together. Take Ricardo and Lorena here. His writing is big and fast, so he's probably a quick thinker, but maybe a bit impulsive with his feelings. Hers, on the other hand, is smaller, more contained. She's likely the planner, more in control of her emotions. Now, they could be a perfect team, or they could drive each other crazy. And get this, the sources even get into potential red flags in a partner's writing. They suggest things like applying way too much pressure and tracing over letters might point to possessiveness, or a huge signature right in the middle of the page could reveal someone who's pretty self-centered and needs a lot of attention. Now, when we shift over to the workplace, things get a little different. Here, especially when it comes to hiring, graphologists are looking for one thing above all else: emotional stability. As the graphologist Sandra Serro says, it's all about regularity and control. They're looking for someone who's reliable and predictable. Just take a look at this writing here. See how clean and consistent it is? The size doesn't suddenly change. There are no weird, jerky movements. This is exactly what they're talking about. This kind of script suggests a person who is calm, dependable, and stable. Pretty much a huge plus in any job. Okay, this all leads us to a really mind-bending question. If our handwriting is a map of our brain, could we change our brain by redrawing the map? In other words, is it possible to change who you are by changing how you write? Well, there's a whole practice built on this idea, and it's called graphotherapy. It all hinges on this amazing thing our brain does called neuroplasticity, its ability to rewire itself.
The theory is that if you consciously change your handwriting, you can actually create new pathways in your brain, helping to form new habits and even new emotional patterns.
And the process is actually pretty simple. First, you pinpoint an issue. Let's say you're super stressed, and it's giving you headaches. Step 2, you come up with a little affirmation. Then, for 21 days straight, you write that phrase with real intention. So for stress, you might practice writing with looser, more flowing letters, while writing something like, "My writing is free like me." The repetition is the key to building those new connections.
And proponents will tell you that you can literally write your way to success. They love to point to signatures of really successful people, like Bill Gates. Take a look. It's big, it's fast, and it's moving upward. All those traits that we just learned are linked with ambition, action, and optimism. So the idea is you can kind of reverse engineer this whole thing. You want to feel more successful? Try practicing the so-called Midas touch signature. Make it bigger to boost your self-confidence. Slant it upwards to ignite that ambition. Use more pressure and speed to feel more powerful and ready for action. Which leaves us with this one last, really provocative thought. We started out asking what secrets are hiding in our handwriting, but maybe, just maybe, the more powerful question is this: if our writing shows who we are right now, can we pick up a pen and truly write who we want to become?